Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it so very much. Welcome, my name is Aiden. I am so happy that you are here. Today I am doing a palette review. This is actually the last 5 of the holiday palettes from Too Faced. I did the first 5 up here. I didn't do the Cinnamon Bear because I knew it wasn't one that I would get, and then there was that weird Marielle, I think, which was released like in the midst of all the holiday things, but I don't believe it's a holiday palette. I believe it's just a collaboration. So I didn't get that one either because I didn't feel like I would use either of those palettes, and they didn't really call to me like the rest of them did. I also did not do the gingerbread mini palette because I've already talked about both of my gingerbread palettes, I'm pretty sure, and they were the same colors. I have the Enchanted Wonderland makeup set, which has 3 palettes. Then I have the Enchanted Forest makeup set, which is a large palette, which is an Ulta exclusive. And then I have the HSN exclusive palette, which is the Enchanted Dreams collection. So let me show you all of those really fast. I had to look up all of their names because I couldn't keep them straight. So we have the Enchanted Dreams palette. These are going to be shown in my haul coming up. I'm behind on hauls, so forgive me, but I will show you all the other things that come with these palettes then, because some of them have just a lot of stuff and I don't have the boxes with me. I just had my parents send me the palettes so that I could review them because I'm not quite at my parents' house yet. So this is what the HSN palette looks like. I will try to remember to leave links for them all down below. As you can see, you do get 12 shades and 2 blushes. And this one, the packaging has like the cameo of the Swan. I am a sucker for cameos. I've loved them my entire life. So this was a collection that just really, really called to me. I loved the packaging, the time, like it feels very late Victorian-ish to me. And then you have, this is the Enchanted Forest. This one, it was not as cute to me. I was sad that the bunny wasn't in the cameo. And then you do have this pattern on all of the palettes, no matter what color they are. And in this palette, you have a lot of shades. You have 2 blushes, a highlighter, and a bronzer. And then you have 20 shade eyeshadows as well. This is the palette that I am mostly wearing on my face today. I don't have the highlighter on, but I do have some of the eyeshadow shades from this palette on. And then I also have the bronzer. So if my bronze looks a little dark, it's because this bronzer is just a titch dark for me. Then we have the Enchanted Forest set, which has 3 individual palettes. You have the Raccoon, which inside the Raccoon, you get a blush and a highlighter and 6 shades. Very neutral options with that one. In the Swan, let's see if you can see the Swan. This one has a blush and highlighter once again and 6 shades, but more in the pinky territory. And finally, you have the deer. Oh my gosh, the deer just, oh, it's so cute. And in the deer, you have a bronzer and a blush and 6 shades, which are more for a smoky eye. So we are going to start with the deer palette. And like I said, it does have the darling little cover, just the animals with their jewels. I don't know, there's just something about it that just really called to me. This palette did have quite a bit of fallout. I still have some on the sides. I haven't tried to brush it off because I was kind of afraid that it might smear and leave little trails, but my plastic also has quite a bit of black on it. Black is probably the only shade I haven't tried in any of these palettes because I don't use a lot of black. All right, so that is what all of the shades look like. You do have the blush, the bronzer, and then the 6 eyeshadow shades. As you can see, those shimmers are really beautiful, especially that gold. The blue-brown kind of pigment worked really nicely as well. I loved the 2 lighter shades. They made a really good eye base and transition. The only one that I wasn't super impressed with is the black, but that's because I don't use a lot of black. So if you don't use a lot of blacks, or like, unless you're doing your whole eye look black, I don't think you're gonna have any problems with this. I do like this one. It's a little harder to work with just because I feel like this is more glam. This is not an everyday palette, but I have used some of the bronzers and the blushes as eyeshadows as I've been testing them out, and they've worked out pretty well. I was kind of surprised. I wasn't sure how they would lay down and stay, but they worked really nice and they look really pretty concentrated. So that is the Deer palette. All right, next up is the Swan palette, and let me show you that one more time before we swatch it. That is what it looks like. It does have that highlighter and that blush and those 6 shades. The one thing I did find with these 6 shadow palettes is that, you know, you don't get a lot of looks out of them. You get a couple really good basic looks. So that's why I was experimenting with the blushes and the highlighters and all of that. So that is what they all look like. You can barely see the highlighter, which is good for my skin tone. I think it's a beautiful kind of universal shade. It has a little gold but a little pink to it, so it's really nice. You can also see that those 2 pinks are kind of similar in shade, but I didn't mind. This was the disappointment. This is more of a topper, I would say. I did struggle with this one more so than any of the other shades, but as you can see, like with that blush, it really lends itself to this color palette. And that's really why I was using that blush as well, just because I needed a couple more shades, especially a transition shade, because otherwise you're gonna have 1, 2, and then just whatever shimmer you decide to do. I did really like this. This is very much my color palette though, which is why I really liked it and why I'm excited to wear it some more. All right, next we're going to talk about the Raccoon palette, and this one is probably the most neutral everyday of the lot. So you still do have that highlighter and that blush and those 6 shades. Let me swatch those really fast and then I'll show them to you. All right, so that is the shades there. So you do have the highlighter, the blush, and the 6 shades. This one is very, very light. It's almost exactly my skin color, which is very unusual. I don't usually find something exactly my skin tone. This one is beautiful. I really love this shimmer. This one also does have that chunky glitter. So I lied when I said that the only shade I hadn't used was that black. I didn't use the chunky glitter either because I don't use chunky glitters. As you can see, like this is kind of a weird formula. There is like a base to it, but it does have that glitter that's going to have fallout as well. This is one of those mattes with the very fine shimmer in it, and I did get most of that was on my finger when I washed off my fingers, so it's not really, it's going to show up more as a matte than anything else. So I'll let you look at that one more time and the swatches. All right, let's get into some of the big palettes, the really large ones with lots of things. I'm not going to be able to swatch them all on my arm because I could barely swatch the pumpkin spice palette last week on my arm, but I'll do a couple things and stop and show them to you so that you can get a good idea of the shades in here. So this is the Enchanted Forest palette from Ulta. This is an Ulta exclusive, and to remind you of what it looks like, it does have the 4 face shades and then the 20 eyeshadows. Let's start swatching. All right, I have swatched the first 12 shades. This is what they look like. This is a really pretty shimmer. It's not showing up as strong as I would like on camera, but I feel like it looks really pretty in person. I do have, I think this is the gold that I have on my eyes today. This one had a lot of fallout, so be a little more careful with some of the mattes in this palette. They aren't quite as soft and not as, some of them don't have as much fallout. Like I feel like this one had more fallout than a lot of other Too Faced products. Oh my gosh, I can't even talk. But as you can see, there are just some beautiful shimmers in there. There's some nice mattes as well. I'll let you look at them in the pan. It is the first 3 rows of the eyeshadows, and then I will do the last 2 rows and the face products here in just a second. All right, so that is the last of them. So you have the 8 eyeshadows, the highlighter, the 2 blushes, and the bronzer. Like I said, I'm wearing the bronzer today. It's a little dark for me. I tried to blend it into my hairline, but it just was not wanting to blend into my hairline at all. So I was like, whatever, I'm done trying with it. This blush is what I'm wearing. This is such a beautiful blush. It just feels very nice and glowy and healthy. I really love it. I put it on and I was like, wow, I really like it. Now we're getting into the shades that I really like down here. I do have the kind of black here in my outer corner, and it looked kind of funky, so I tried to put a lot of shimmer over the top of it because it was not what I wanted. And ignore all the goosebumps on my arms if you can see them. It's a little cold. My fingers are a little cold right now. But if I turn on like a space heater to warm it up, then you can't hear me very well. So that is what they look like. I love these shades. There's kind of a repeat in the blue brown shift kind of shadow, but these shades were beautiful. I really did like this palette. It is one that I do see myself reaching for and going to be wearing because there's just a really great mix. A lot of neutral shades, but I feel like they're fun neutrals. These are the kind of neutrals that I like. So I really do like this palette, and I'm really excited to play more with this one as well down the road. The final palette today is the Enchanted Dreams palette from HSN. You do get this one on HSN. This one, I will give you a hint, it does come with 2 brushes and a whole bunch of other stuff. It was like a full kit. I was very shocked to see everything in the box. This is what it looks like. So you do have those 12 eyeshadows and the 2 blushes. I love this peachy blush. I'm just gonna say that right now because I'm all about like this light peachy blushes. All right, so they are all the swatches. So you start with the light and you move in. There are some gorgeous shades in here. Just like this one right here, this Cool Yule. The way it goes on, I was like, wow, I really, really liked that one. I really like this Most Wonderful Time and Coming to Town. Just some really good shimmers in there. Really pretty blushes. I did try to use some of these as eyeshadows when I was testing out some of the smaller palettes as well. I really do like this. This is one that I did try every single shade in this palette. There wasn't any glitters. There wasn't any blacks that I didn't know what to do with. So yeah, that is what they look like. I think they did a super good job with this palette. So I'm just going to rank these and kind of tell you what my least favorite is to my favorite and give you an idea. I'm going to refresh which ones I talked about last week, and I'll add those in with pictures up here. All right, so in 5th place, or the bottom of my little pile, is going to be the Deer palette from the Enchanted Forest set. Just because I feel like this isn't one that I'm going to get a lot of good looks from it for everyday wear. It is more of a glam palette, and that bronzer, it's going to have to be used as an eyeshadow. It's really too dark for me to use as a bronzer itself. So, and the black, I don't know, just when you only have 6 shades and you decide to put one black in that 6 shades, just is a little disappointing to me because I don't use a lot of blacks. Then I'm going to put the Raccoon in 4th place, and it's going to have kind of a similar reason. It's because they put that glitter in there. And I should say, these are all scented palettes too. These are supposed to smell like maple sugar. They're not overwhelming scent. This one, when I opened it, I did get a whiff of it, but nothing in these palettes is overwhelming. So if you have a scent, like if you're sensitive to scent, I don't think these will be a problem for you. Or if there are, these are going to be the ones that are the strongest scent. So it is because it has that chunky glitter in there. That is why I'm putting this one in 4th place. I do really like the colors. I like the blush in here, but it is a more subtle blush. So if you are have a deeper skin tone than I do, it might not work very well for you either. That's another consideration. In 3rd place, middle of the pack, I'm going to put the Too Faced. This is the Enchanted Forest, I believe. Trying to remember what all of the names are because they're all enchanted something. And I'm putting this one here because the other two I like a little bit more. I do like this one. I really like the blush in here. I think there's some beautiful colors in here, but I don't see myself wearing this palette quite as much as the other two. And you know, it has the black, and I know other people really like blacks in their stuff. But I don't think a lot of people like black with the shimmer in it, and that's the type of a black shade it is. In second place, we're going to put the Swan palette, and there's two reasons why this one did not get first place. That is going to be because these two shades are a little bit similar in nature, but I think this one is a beautiful palette, and I wish there was like one less shimmer and one more like transition type shade or deepening shade. I do really like this palette though, and I do see myself taking this as a good like travel palette, like if you're going to visit family over the weekend or whatever. I think that's a good one. And then finally in first place is going to be the HSN exclusive Enchanted Dreams, and that is just because those shades are so up my alley. They are so beautiful. They worked really well. I love that there's just two blushes that are more universal. I feel like this palette is going to work for pretty much any skin tone. You're going to have a nice mix of looks. They're going to be pigmented, but not too pigmented. So let me know if you have tried any of these palettes, because I am always really interested to know that as well. Now, if I was going to rank these with the ones from last week, would this one take the place of my number one from last week? So I would say that it would trump my first place, which was the Sugar Plum Fun. I think this one is a little bit more versatile, has more shades with it. So this would be my number one out of all 10 palettes that I tried from the holiday collection of Too Faced. This would be number one. I still think I would put the Sugar Plum Fun as my second choice, just because I really do love the color story on it, and I think it's really a pretty palette. In third place, I would put the Foxy Neutrals palette, because once again, I think it's a more versatile palette. You have a lot of looks to go with it. So I would put that one as number 3. And then I would put my Swan as number 4, because I do love this palette, but you have to buy the other two palettes with it to get this one. So maybe that would make it higher for you if you want to give away the other two palettes, but this one is the one that I would put in third place. In fourth place, that was fourth place, sorry, getting confused. Fifth place, I would put this guy right here. This is the Enchanted Forest palette. I do think this one is really nice. It has a lot of versatility to it, so I would put that as number 5. For number 6, I would keep the Salted Caramel. I think that one is a really nice palette, and I would really recommend doing and using that one again. I would probably put the Pumpkin Spice next as number 7. I'm getting confused with numbers now. Let me recap really fast. Number 1, the Enchanted Dreams. Number 2, Sugar Plum Fun. Number 3, Foxy Neutrals. Number 4, the Swan palette. Number 5, Salted Caramel. Number 6, Pumpkin Spice. There you go. Got a little confused with numbers. Sometimes it's hard to count. I'm an English teacher. I don't teach math. That's a joke. I do know how to do math, but when you're trying to keep track of things that you don't have with you, it's a little more difficult. In 7th place, let me keep on track. I am going to put this guy right here. That is the Raccoon palette. And then just because they go together, I'm going to put this one as number 9. And then the Unbearably Glam is still going to be my least favorite, just because I feel like it was the poorest performing of all of the palettes that I got. It had those 3 chunky glitters in it. The shades kind of didn't sit right on the eye and kind of blended away and faded throughout the day. So that one I still think is the worst of the holiday line that I tried. Let me know if you've tried these, what your thoughts are. If you agree with my ranking, if you don't agree with my ranking, I would love to know. I hope you are all having a fantastic day. Thank you so much for sitting through this long video. I can't wait to talk to you next time. Bye.